welcome to the Orientation Arts Center. Today we're doing a workshop on neck sprains and strains. My name is Sarah from Stapleton, and my co-host is Michael Johnson. So, Michael Johnson's going to kick us off with talking about the musculoskeletal structure of our necks. What muscles are involved, what happens when we get neck pain. It's going to give some exercises and some KT tape and options of how to work through the neck pain. Then the second part of this lecture is going to be on the Oriental medicine aspect. So we're dividing it into Western and Eastern. So we've got the Western, what is a neck sprain, how are the muscles involved, what do you do to get it better? Eastern aspect of what acupoints do you use, what kind of qigong can you use, and what kind of lifestyle can you use to help facilitate neck healing and also to strengthen your neck over time. All right, so I'm going to pass the mic over to Mike Johnson.
All right, good morning / afternoon, however you want to call it. Welcome. So today we're going to talk about neck pain, neck strains, injuries, anything involving that. Me myself, I'm just going to cover the Western side of it. I'm going to give you a little bit of background, understanding of the neck, some muscles that could be involved, the injury, ailment, whatever's going on with that client at the time. So you have a better understanding of what you're dealing with before you move into Sarah's portion of the class. All right, so a little bit of introduction. My name is Michael Johnson. I know everybody's sitting here. You guys know me. Licensed massage therapist across the street. Tuina therapist, and just love doing what I do. And appreciate and honored that Mr. Seraphim asked me to come in and talk to you guys for a little bit. Because that's all we're doing. We're going to have a discussion. This is not a quiz. I don't expect anything from you guys. We're just here to have an information exchange and make ourselves better. All right, so I always start my workshops off with this picture here, not because I'm a Libra and I'm biased, but what that represents. Okay, justice. Balance. Balance. That's what I think. So whenever a client comes in and they tell me, oh, I have low back pain. Oh, I have neck pain. Oh, I have knee pain. I try to change their verbiage a little bit and change that word pain into imbalance. There's an imbalance going on somewhere. And our job as therapists is to find out where it is and what's causing it. If you can do that, you will have some return clients because they will be absolutely happy that you will leave their pain. Neck functionality, mobility. I already talked about who I am and what I do. So skip that. What's causing pain? So I like to break it down into different sections. One, is it a structural issue? Because there's things that we can affect and there's things that we will not be able to affect. Structural. Somebody has scoliosis. What are we going to do about that? Absolutely no. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We can't do anything about that. So those things that are structural or genetic, things they were born with, we cannot affect those, but we can affect the secondary issue. So by relaxing those muscles that are involved, and whether it be atrophy or excess, that's what we can affect. But the actual structural issue itself, we're not chiropractors, we're not doctors, so we just deal with the muscles, not the bones. And injury. So we cannot prevent them from being injured, but we can help them recover from that injury a lot faster. So that's what we worry about. But when it comes to injuries, you want to break that down. Is it acute or is it chronic? Were they out there running that race this morning, the skinny Raven race, and they fell down and rolled their ankle? That's acute. It just happened. Caught it right when it happened. That's the definition of acute. Chronic is, let's say Mr. Seraphim has been a carpenter for 10 years, and he's always down on his knees, he's bending over, he's doing this, laying drywall, so on and so forth. My back's hurting due to my job. That's chronic. That accumulated over a 10-year period, so that helps you as far as being realistic about the results. 10 years of damage, 60 minutes to fix it. Probably not going to happen. But what I try to aim for is at least a 70% solution. And I'm upfront with my clients. I let them know, okay, you've had this issue for quite a while, and I don't have the magic pill to fix it today. But what we're going to do is we're going to find out what's causing the issue. We're going to address it, and then we'll create a plan for it to get you back to where you need to be. Just letting them know, like, hey, I can get you walking out of here feeling a lot better. It's not a be-all, fix-all, not a one-stop shop. So yeah, with that, we're going to go over a little bit of anatomy, physiology, some therapy, things that I like to do for neck pain, strains, whatever the case may be, and a couple of stretches. Everybody good with that? Sweet. Okay. So I'm on a time limit here, but I can talk all day long about muscles of the neck. That's how many there are. I don't have that time. So what I did is I just went through and I thought of top problem children that cause neck pain. So anybody just throw out what can the neck do as far as direction? Which ways can the neck do?
Right, left,
Okay.
up, down.
Right, left. So that's what? Rotation. Rotation. Okay, what else? Up, down. So that's flexion and extension. Okay, what else can it make? We got flexion, we got extension, we got rotation. Okay. Okay, retraction, protraction. A little bit, not too much, but it can. That's good. That's good. How about lateral flexion? Your shoulder. Okay. So it's pretty much what we got. We can do a little bit of rotations when you get them all involved. So I just picked out the muscles that create those movements. All right, and we're going to address those because what are some issues? What are some things that might cause neck issues as far as lifestyle? Sit down. So let's put that all under one umbrella. I like to call it, let's say, posture. Posture. Bad posture. We all talk about posture. What is bad posture? So textbook-wise, the posture is the inside of your ear here should be directly over the middle of your shoulder. That's perfect posture. Textbook. So what does that tell you? The techie neck or TikTok disease, as I like to call it today, when we're on a phone, scroll Instagram, or doing whatever. Yeah, Pokemon Go, whatever you're doing. So now you just took yourself out of perfect posture, right? By doing that, you're elongating and putting extra stress on those muscles that are supporting the neck. The average head is about 12 to 15 pounds. Every little bit more forward you move your head, you're increasing that weight. So you're increasing the weight and you're increasing the strain on those muscles. People don't even realize it's just daily life became the norm nowadays. So we're our own cause of the neck pain. We don't realize it. So right here, I have a picture of the levator scapula. So if you look at this puppy here, first of all, levator scapula. What do you hear when you hear levator scapula? Elevator. I'm not a smart man. I just make things simple for my simple mind, and it helps me remember. So when I hear levator, I think elevator. So elevators do what? Take you up and down in a building. So that does the same thing. It elevates the scapula. So you're like, okay, Mike, we're talking about neck pain here. Why are you talking about a muscle that elevates the scapula? Thank you, Kev. So some people may think my methods are a little crazy, but I like to think outside the box. I don't get tunnel vision and think about, oh, my neck is hurting, let's just work on the actual muscles of the neck. When I hear neck pain, the first thing that pops in my mind is shoulder, because you have all of this hanging from this focal point right here. So why wouldn't you address those muscles? Just some food for thought. So the levator scapula, as Kip said, it's right here on the medial edge of the scapula, but then it goes up and it inserts right there at the base of the skull and on the spinal processes. It's like 2, 3, and 4, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so that's a cause of your neck pain right there. So if it elevates the scapula, what in your lifestyle you think would agitate that muscle? Mm-hmm. Stress is a key. Stress, because we're taught here to breathe to your lower dantian, relax your shoulders. The majority of the public, they laugh at us if we talk about that. They have no idea what we're talking about. They're breathing up here in their chest, which puts them in the fight or flight mode because you're ready to fight or take flight. That's a cause of neck pain. That's what they scapula. Okay. The traps. This is my favorite. I don't want to make anybody feel weird, but if you see a client, before I see a client, I'm reading that supplement. I owe it to the client to read the supplement to see what they had going on prior to seeing me, so it will help me better address the problem that they're coming in for. If it's the same problem, but I want a little bit of history about it. You can bet your $5 I always see tension in the traps or adhesion in the traps. I always see that. So this is a weird one for a lot of different reasons, and I'm going to go into that. So the traps. What do you think I'm going to focus on the actions of these muscles to help us better understand what they're doing or what they're not doing and why they're causing problems. So we talked about the levator scapula, the action of what that does. Traps. What do you think the action of the traps? Okay, Kevin, I'm about to put you on word order. You're answering all the questions, right? We're going to have to go to Keo and Aliska. So yeah, but you're absolutely right. I mean, I took math. I thought I was pretty good at it, and it's got its name from the shape. I've never seen a trapezoid shape like that, but it is what it is. So the traps, that's exactly what it does. It holds. That is like it's holding everything together, and holding it back upright. So the direction of the traps, it's kind of weird. So they break it down to 3 sections. So everything from here and above is considered the upper traps, right? From here to here, that's the middle traps. And from here on down is considered the lower traps. Does anybody notice anything different about those 3 sections? The direction of the muscle. So I don't know if any of you guys are in any of my other workshops where I tell you that muscles have 3 rules. And one of those 3 rules is muscles work best in the direction of their fibers.
In the direction of their
Fibers.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
See? So from here to here, they're kind of descending. See that? Middle traps are horizontal, going outward. Lower traps are descending. Only group of muscles that does something weird like that. So if you think about that as a massage, looking at me weird, guys. Okay. So think about that while you're doing your therapy and your strokes, especially if you're like stripping or doing washout, things of that nature. Think about the direction the fibers run when you're doing that work in that area. Yeah. Okay, so I'm glad you said that. So not only is the straps holding everything together, you're doing anything load bearing, you're carrying grocery bags from the store to your car. Those straps are what's adding the stability so that shoulders don't pop out the side. So they're supporting that weight. Anything that you're doing load bearing and you're carrying what you're holding in your hands, the straps are responsible for supporting that. So now you got they support load bearing, which we do a lot in the day, moving bodies, things of that nature as therapists. You're stressed out and you breathe into your chest now, which makes me laugh. Like 98% of my clients say, I hold my tension in my neck and my shoulders. Everybody says that. It's like, it's because it's the lifestyle that we live that puts that tension in those areas. So now we believe, oh yeah, that's why I hold my stress. No, it's just, I like to change people's way of thinking. It's just a lifestyle change. And things may loosen up a little bit. So in the middle, if they go on side to side, what is that going to do? It's gonna like retract the shoulder blades, right? Okay, let's talk about this puppy here. SEM, sternocleidomastoid. I see that every time people so upset when I read it. Break the name down. So when you're doing your therapy, think about it. Sternocleidomastoid. So sterno, which is your sternum, that plate in the middle there. So it's connected there. Clavicle, here, mastoid, right there at the skull. So this one is a tricky one because if you look at this picture here, you have a attachment point at the base of your skull in the rear, but then it somehow winds up on your clavicle and your sternum. So that's responsible for what? Rotation. Exactly, because the way it's wound up like a rubber band, that's responsible for rotation right there. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to do work around the clavicle. People like the word just this part right here, not at the base of the skull. You see what I'm saying, Kat? Yeah, and right here, up under the clavicle. You gotta get under there. You can really get that thing to release. And then rides over top, right here at the skull. Yes, it's not the middle. I tell my students all the time, to be effective, you gotta work the origin, you gotta work the insertion, you gotta work the belly of the muscle. Get those three, you got a happy customer. And talk about the action of that. That is just rotation. Okay. This one, I put this one up here because I don't see this in my research notes. I don't see anybody hardly ever say anything about scalings. Scalings are highly important. Highly important. The action of the scalings are to anybody want to take a shot at it? Close. Phone a friend. Hello, yes, Michael. Oh, yeah, I got you. So the action of the scalings are to elevate the first rib. As you see, you have your the medius, you have the anterior. So it'll go down, and you see they took this plate out, so you don't have a clavicle there, you don't have your pec muscles there. What you see is that scaling goes down up under the clavicle and attaches to the first rib. So one of the actions of the scalings are to elevate the first rib. So if you have somebody, like what we talked about genetically, it's like, oh yeah, my mom, she had problems with her first rib all the time. I've been seeing a chiropractor since I was 20. I just go there and get a few manipulations and it's good. But a week or two, I'm right back to where I was before. Every time I inhale, take a deep breath, I get sharp pain, and the list goes on and on and on.
So what, I'm not sure exactly what's happening.
Okay. So your scalings here. Right there. And then it's going up underneath. Yeah, see, it's going up underneath here. It's attaching to your first If those are tense and tight, it's pulling that up because the elevating that first rib is just helping you do this. But if you're in a relaxed position with your arm and it's pulling that first rib up, kind of freaking uncomfortable.
So if this gets really tight, can people then not move their arm all the way up?
They can go with pain and discomfort. And a lot of times the secondary pain will be in the rear. They'll point and say, oh, I feel it right here.
Oh,
Scaling has another action. What do you think? What movement haven't we covered yet? Lateral flexion. So exactly what you just did right there. So it's responsible for lateral flexion and it's responsible for elevation of the first rib. Now, that's not even the jackpot. So this is like my favorite one. I wish there was a room full of therapists in here so they can hear this, but they didn't attend the workshop. So yeah, love the therapist. So this little spindle of thing that Jimmy's here, what do you guys think that is? Okay. So you got your subclavian artery in there. And then what else do you have? There you go. So you have your brachial plexus. So right, that little hole right here, right in between the medius and the anterior scalene, your brachial plexus, which is coming off your spinal cord, is coming out between those muscles and it hops underneath your clavicle and it travels down your arm. So if you've got a bundle of nerves running in between a muscle, why do you think that's a problem? Bingo. So if you have inflammation or tension or whatever you got going on up there, now you're disrupting the functionality of that brachial plexus. So that should cue you in when you're sitting there and you're doing intake and you're not being robotic. Like, what type of pressure do you like? Any part you don't want to work on? Okay, I'm gonna step on the room and I'm not gonna go for it. No, actually do an intake. Okay, tell me about your pain. What makes it better? What makes it worse? What do you feel it? Is it radiating? Oh, you know what? Now that you mention it, my arms kind of go numb sometimes. Ding, ding, ding. That's neurological. It's coming from that brachial plexus being pinned down by the scapula muscles. Another situation you get with that is some people like to label it as piriformis syndrome, or I just put it under one umbrella and call it a sciatic. So the sciatic nerve runs underneath the piriformis. Huge problem child. It causes a lot of problems. This, we're talking upper limbs, causes a lot of problems in the upper limbs. And as therapists, a lot of therapists are we don't want pets, you're working pets are good, or they're working the heck out of the arms, the delts, and all that, and the person feels no pain. That's because the origin of the pain is right there in the neck. Everybody good with that? Any questions?
So when you're looking at the neck, what do you have to be careful of?
You have to be careful.
I'm potentially right here, and it's like putting.
Okay, so I'm happy you asked that question, Kev, and I'm not so happy you asked that question. Because I went back and forth a lot when I was putting this together, and I shouldn't put this on you. But I was like, I think people should know this information, and I want to share it. Then what I'm going here, because exactly what you just said. That is the danger zone, all right? And I call that the triangle of death. That triangle right there, because you have a major artery coming out of there. You have nerves coming out of there. So you can cause some serious damage just poking around. I don't know what the hell you're doing. Don't have a wish that you get it. So you have to really be confident about your anatomy and know exactly what you're doing. When you're going to do more harm than good. My best recommendation that I can give you is if you feel a pulse, move the dang finger, hand, whatever you have in there. Because little pulse, you're on what? You're on that artery. You cut off that. And before I do any work around anyone's clavicle, I always tell them anything, whether it's working subscapularis, neck, inguinal, whatever. If you feel any burning, tell me immediately, and I will stop. That's a key indicator that you are pissing that nerve off and you're on it, and you need to move or stop doing whatever the heck you're doing. All right. So best two things I can tell you is feel pulse, move. They feel burning, immediately stop. That was a really good question, Kevin. I knew somebody's going to ask it. I was going to have to address it.
So does this affect your whole arm?
Whole arm. And loss of sensation, mainly radiating and all the way down to the fingers. Yeah, that's a key indicator right there of vertical plexus.
So should you like discuss that as we're moving into that area with the clients or wait?
Discuss what?
Discuss the fact that this is going to be a sensitive area.
Yeah, so I do my intake and they tell me, oh, this is going on. I work at a desk for 8 hours a day. I noticed lately I have loss of sensation in my hands, tingling feeling. That's right there, cues me neurological. Working at the desk, I'm still. That is a ring digger right there. I tell them, okay, something going on with breathing. So when I explain to them, okay, I'm going to start with your head, I'm going to do a nice little relaxation head massage. I'm going to move down to your neck and shoulders. Once I get to that area, I'm going to do some stripping or hit some acupressure points, release some things. It can be a little intense, but we'll keep open communication. If anytime anything is too much, let me know, I can back off. Also, while I'm doing that, if at any time you feel burning, let me know immediately, and I will stop.
How often does the actual burning happen?
Not really. But it's a possibility.
Yeah.
It's a possibility. More so when you're doing like subscapularis stuff. The neck, because if you know your anatomy, not really that much. Because you have these kids. Okay, now you send me on a tangent, and I think I'm on a time limit, but I'm going to address it anyway. So the ribs. All your arteries, and this is for the entire rib cage, all your arteries and your nerves, they run under the bottom of the ribs. So you're playing with that fire because when you go underneath the clavicles, you're going exactly the way those nerves are. And the body is built amazing. They run that way to protect themselves. That's why they're on the bottom of the ribs, not on top. So, like, if you've ever seen that movie, Three Kings, when the guy gets shot in the chest and he has like a tension pneumothorax and stick the needle in his chest and he's like, I can breathe again. Whenever you do that technique, it's taught to hit the bone actually and do it right over top of the bone. Never underneath, because we know that's where all the arteries and the nerves run. So that's what makes this a little tricky, because you're actually working up underneath the body. But when in doubt, stop. Know your anatomy, physiology, and practice on the therapist. Don't practice on the brain implant. Don't try it for the first time. Get the technique down. Know what you're touching. Actually, when you're touching it, well, okay, I'm on the SCM right now. Learn that first. Okay, this is the way the scapula. Oh, yeah, I can feel it going down to the medial border of the scapula. Oh, okay, I am on the SCM. Know what you're doing before you try to put some of these techniques into play. Like Kev said, it's not that often, but it can cause harm to somebody just pulling around. That's why I was so sensitive. But I feel that more people need to think about that, because with today's age, majority of jobs sitting at a desk at a computer, or some type of sitting in a hunched over. That's why I thought coming into this profession that majority of pain will be low back pain, because I come from a very active job and not proper alignment, not using the right muscles. Lower back pain is huge. Knee pain is huge. But since being here, the majority of my clients are neck pain, shoulder pain. Blew my mind. That's what made me start listening to it, figure out what the heck is going on there. Just lifestyle. High sleep, side sleeper, side sleeper, back sleeper, laying down on the couch, leaning back on the pillow, pushing that thing down, pulling those muscles, just lifestyle. We're going into ourselves.
Yeah, I know it's, but I sleep on the shoulder, I'm like working all the time.
Yeah. Yep. And I'm not perfect. I'm a hypocrite. I'll tell you that. I'll look my clients in the eyes and be like, no, that is bad. Do not sleep on your stomach. How do I sleep? I sleep on my stomach. But because I'm so stubborn and I don't want to change that ways, I figured out a way to make it work. So I know that I have my pillows at the perfect consistency. I know where to place them on my pelvis, and that kind of like keeps my spine in line versus bending like that. I'm sleeping like this. So I don't stop. I just figure out a way to make it work for me, so I don't jack up a little bit. Any more questions? Okay, round boys. I see this in so commercial actually. People always say round boys. What makes me laugh though is the round boys are super, super deep. So you actually have to take those traps, lift them up, and the round boys are underneath the traps. So you're not really getting those unless you go into your deep work. So once you have them warmed up, open up, or if you use heat or some things like that, then you can get to those round boys pretty quick. But yeah, so remember when I told you about the way the fibers run? How those run? Those are kind of weird. Almost, they're horizontal, but like almost diagonal a little bit. So the action that the round boys are going to do, they're going to retract the shoulder blades as well and slight the elevation. Slight elevation. Any questions on that?
Well, my question is that, how do you get through the tracks to the wrong way? They are covered by the track.
Mm-hmm. That's with the deep tissue movers and manipulation of the limb, kind of open things up a little bit more, and you can get down and get into those round boys. But you're not affecting the round boys with F-Raj. You're not really affecting them with flat knuckles. It's not until you get into those deep, vigorous movements that go ahead.
No, but they're still massaging through the wrong way, through the tracks.
Kind of, sort of, yeah. I see what you're saying, yeah. But if you want to target those specifically, that's when you go into like the chicken, the elbows, the chicken winging that arm. So when you chicken wing, what you're doing is you're kind of elongating that trap a little bit, making it thinner. Now you're penetrating through it and you get to the arm. For some, yeah, you guys climb up on the table and up the knee or something. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. Anybody want to take a guess what that is? Ding, ding, ding. Pec minor. So pec minor. We're like, hey, dude, we're talking about, you're all over the place. We're talking about neck pain. What does pec minor have to do with neck pain?
You're not aligned, so now the shoulder in the front is kind of contracted because your other
You see me smiling. I'm smiling because I'm so happy that you think. That's what I want people to like start thinking about that puzzle. And you got to put the pieces of that puzzle together. So what we just talked about bad posture, being on the computer like this. So now what we're doing is we're rounding our shoulders. We're shortening that pec minor. And it's the same as if we sit down all the time. That psoas gets short. And that becomes a problem child. So now do your lifestyle, we're like this, hunched over, doing whatever, and that becomes shortened. So now when you go to actually straighten it out, it's a problem. And when it's shortened, what it's going to do is it's going to round those shoulders. Now, if you round the shoulders over, now what happens? That's where you get that wing scapula. So now you have the wing scapula. So now you're stretching the rhomboid, you're stretching the trap. So you see how that little puppy right there plays into the bigger problem. And once you mess with those muscles, which insert up into the base of the skull, you have neck pain. So that's where the trickiness comes in. You got to do a thorough intake, find out what happened prior to, whether it was an injury, what do they do as far as lifestyle, and kind of hone in to what's causing the problem. Does that make sense? Any questions on that?
Well, yeah, sort of. So if you have this and they're like this all the time, then would you just like pull back and work back here as much as anything else to get
So-
the stretch?
Okay, I'm trying to think of how to answer this question as fast as I can, because let's see, we're looking at the time. So during your intake, I'm looking at that. What's when I come up to them, and hey, Alicia, how you doing today? Good. My name is Michael. I'll be in South Sturgis. I'll be working with you today. Did you get a chance to use the bathroom?
No.
All right. Well, come this way. We can kill two birds with one stone. You can use the restroom. I'll meet you when you come out, and we'll go into the room. I'm looking at her the whole time I'm walking. And I'm looking at her posture. When she stands up, I'm looking to see how she stands up. Can she support without using her arms to push it up? If she's walking down the hallway to the bathroom, I always trail the client. It's not because I want to look at them. No, I'm assessing their gait. I'm assessing their posture, everything. And if I notice she's like this from the start, that already cues me. Okay, she has some issues going on right there. And then when I get into the intake, I gear my questions to things that that will be causing, like problems that will be causing. And if the answers are yes, I got lucky. I'm right. She has some issues going on with the pet mind. But the secondary effects of the pet mind is she's going to have the elongate on the backside. It's just like the yin yang syndrome. You got push, there's pull. You got front, there's back. So you just can't only address that, but that is the root of the problem. And once you fix that, then you flip them over. Once you flip them over, you got to pay attention to those traps, those rhomboids, the beta scapula, things of that nature. And this is another one where I really explain to my clients because it's not pretty and it can be very, very tender. And I was telling me, this can be sensational. Just keep open communication with me. I'll constantly check in with you. If it's too much at any time, let me know, and I will lighten my pressure. But I do let them know I'm going to find your threshold. I'm going to take you just a little bit past that threshold. Just nice deep breaths, belly. And I've had clients that had to put my hand on the stomach. It's like, all right, breathe to my hand, kind of calm it down a little bit. Just once they get worked up, the first thing they start, but no, I don't need you doing that. I need you to breathe in, go down to your glutes, and we'll get through this. Did that answer your question? Anybody else?
So working on women is a little bit more tricky, because they have.
Not tricky at all. You want me to elaborate on that? Well, I see you like, yeah, whatever, not tricky. It's not. So this is your clavicle right here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Lung 1 and lung 2 are like right in here. So
Oh, yeah, that one.
yeah, we already hit those points. So that's what I want you guys to feel comfortable doing it. I know people automatically like, oh no, my hand's not on there. What I do is I'm draped as if I would normally be working the pets as usual. We're not invasive cleavage or anything is showing, and I'm using more of a gliding technique to follow, like I said, the direction of the fiber. I want to follow the direction of the fiber to get that release. So what I like to do is artificially create the action. So pec minor, pec major, flies. That is the sole purpose of that. That's the direction of the fiber. That's what it does. So I create that myself. I controllerly contracted. I do, which would be shortening the muscle. And then as I elongate it, that's when I use the pressure to get it to release. makes sense. Any other question? Oh, okay. Therapy. Massage therapy and therapy tools. I'm just going to go to therapy tools because the room is full of massage therapists, and you guys know the types of techniques you like to use when working on necks, neck, shoulders, or what have you. So I have quite a few things here. My favorites are wash out tools. I have various types. Pass them around. Take a look at them if you want. I have metal, plastic, jade, and another plastic. People come in my room and they're like, "Hey, you got all these cool tools." I'm a prior military medic. I've always thought that it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So I never break my routine. I set it up the same way all the time. If you want to know why I have so many different types, it depends on where you're working at. So that metal one there, I use that twofold because I can throw that in my heater. Now it's warm. It's a warm piece of metal. I can get that also to relax even more. Mostly traps for that. That's my heavy.
I don't actually see how to use this.
That's my heavy hitter right there. It is. That's your brass. Yeah. This is my heavy hitter. So this one you can use here, and I can use this point to get here. Heel this way to get the traps. This way, come down the neck. This here, so I can push it around ways. Get up into the because there's never one tool that does it all. That's why I have it. And the main reason for this one, I can do two things. I can put this in my heater, heat it up, now it's warm. I'll relax that muscle faster, or I can make it cold if I want it cold. This is a more rounded, thicker one. I like to use this when I'm working on it because it's a more sensitive area. I don't like messing with that. And these two, I can use whatever. Mostly this one is for facial. Somebody wants facial wash out that. So I'll use that small plastic one. But yeah, that's why I have so many different wash out tools, depending on what I'm working on. So that metal one, that's my jacket.
I just have never seen this.
That's my jacket. That's my heavy hitter. So wash out is great. So we had a discussion prior to, and we were talking about fascia. So you massage therapy, we're working and manipulating the muscles, relaxing those muscles. So because the whole deal is optimal performance, right? So we are making sure those muscles are working efficiently and functioning correctly, so the output is optimal performance. Fascia, what are we really doing with fascia as massage therapists? Nothing unless you actually do it, but massage itself is not. So washa is great for that. So for Western medicine, they'll call it something different. They call it petechia. So that redness and stuff that you see pop up, Western medicine calls it petechia. Eastern medicine is called shock. So that's what you're looking for. You want to rub that area, scrape it, and go in at about a 45-degree angle until it is red and distended. And those really dark red spots that you see, those are the adhesives that you're bringing. And if you wash out an area and there's no petechia or there's no shock, it didn't cause any harm, but hey, you tried, but you're not going to not.
Well, it doesn't feel that bad.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't, not at all. As long as it's not a bad spot, but it doesn't hurt. Looks slight distance. And cupping. So I have gliding cups. I have static cups. It all depends on what's treated. So these are just two different types of gliding cups. I like these because they create a lot of pressure. And I have my static cups. Yeah, those are get some serious suction with those. And that's working with the fascia. So we work the muscles, and you figure towards the end, like, hey, I want to address the fascia. That's when I go into the uses of the washout tools, gliding cups, static cups, especially when you talk about like areas, traps. So A lot of fascia going on. Another area is when you get down to the low back, you get like quadratus lumborum area, things of that nature. Then they're nothing but fascia. So how much are you actually doing with just your strokes? So that's with cupping, washout, things of that nature come into play. And I have some KT tape here. Some people think it's a placebo. I beg to differ because I use it not as often as I would like to, but I do use it mostly on my athletes. I work with a couple people that run Mount Marathon, do all these crazy trail runs, cross country ski, fat tire bike races, all that, and they want therapy and something to support that therapy because they'll look me in the eye and tell me like, I'm not gonna stop doing it. Like, as soon as I get off the table here, I gotta run tonight. So I want to do things to help support their lifestyle, but at the same time, still allow them to heal. But as far as the neck, there's one thing that you guys, the only thing you remember from this class today, so KT tape can be kind of tricky. Depending on where you're using it at, you want to stretch 25%, you want to stretch 50%, you want to stretch this 80%, and then you apply the rest of the tape. Remember, on the neck, no stretch. Do not apply stretch to the neck. What I do is I go in and I create an artificial stretch. So by artificial, I mean, face it that way. So I would take Malishka and I would say, all right, I'm turn my head here. Now that muscle is elongated. I'm going to apply the KT tape to that area, no stretch. Now when she relaxes, the KT tape is, yes, it's supporting that core and that back. Versus if I did add a stretch, she goes back and I was like, oh no, I'm off that. So easy for the neck, no stretch. No stretch. Just have them get to that position. If it's the raw voice, what I do is I either tell them, hey, now you can get dressed. Once you dress, crack the door, let them get done. I'll come back into the work. If they have a sports bra, I'll tell them, sports bra on. I'll still drape them, but reverse, leave the back exposed, and just have them, because raw voice run that way, right? Just have them turn around their back. So back around you, apply the tape, no stretch, then have them go back to normal position.
So where do you actually stretch it?
So if like a quad problems, I stretch it. Knee, because knee, 90% of the time, knee pain is just that telegraph pull out of track. There's an imbalance with the rectus femoris, the vastus lateralis, vastus medialis, sartorius, whatever. Something is stronger than the other, aggressive imbalance. At the beginning of the workshop, it's just when that muscle contracts, you patella move, left, right, wherever the case may be. And now I want to create that stretch that even that pull out and make it go easy. So I don't want to get too go down the rabbit hole with that. But yeah, so for neck, just no stretch. Create that artificial stretch by moving and manipulating that person's head or neck, shoulders back or whatever, apply it and stretch, let them come back to the relaxed position. Any other questions? All right. Well, Mrs. Serafin, I think I want to move the time a little bit. I apologize. But that concludes my portion. If there are no more questions. Cool. Nice.
All right, you guys learned a lot.
Let's see.
Okay, so let's take a brief break and us lecturing and say, what did you get? And what's your takeaway from this aspect? What's the thing that stood out to you the most? Aliska.
Is to learn more about, especially these danger zones that you don't know what you're doing, and you know you have to be very careful so you can actually injure a person. But the other thing is that you always have to look at the origin of the pain in order to fix it. So you can't just look where it does hurt, but where does it originate from?
Right, so looking at the danger zones and seeing where does the pain originate.
Yes, the impression of origin.
Excellent. Kia,
So I am not a therapist, so I
what stood out to you?
so when he said Michael said lifestyle. So and then I am one of those people I say I'm more stressed around here, but I think I need to just look at my lifestyle and also posture. To make it better.
Lifestyle and posture, excellent. Kevin, what did you take away?
You need to look at the structure and the way the person is balanced, how they stand, are you giving somebody who's hunched over, that you need to straighten it out, or you need to be working with the person's body as opposed to just whatever it is that you're doing. You can't just say, okay, I'm gonna put a tape on you. You deal with the body that you have in front of you.
Structure and attention to how to work with the body.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, Western medicine and Eastern medicine do work together. In China, you go to the hospitals, the first thing the Tuina doctors ask, the acupuncturist asks is, okay, let me see your MRI, let me see your X-ray, let me see what the muscles are doing. It takes them more than 10 years before they're allowed to even work on their first patient by themselves. That's just how intensive their training is. That's how much they work with the Western and the Eastern medicine. So one of the things with the Eastern medicine is we do work with the muscles. We do work with the areas that are tight, but we also try not to directly affect the specific area of tension. So if you sprain your neck sprains or strains usually happen because of an abrupt force, kind of like whiplash. And so you've sprained your neck, you've done something where maybe you walked too far, you fell, you were in a car accident and your neck whipped forward, or just sleeping improperly for a while, or the other factors that Michael talked about. Those all cause neck strain or sprain. So strain is when the muscles have been strained for too long, they've been stretched for too long, something happened, they were in a bad position for too long. Sprain is not a sprain. Sprain is usually something that happens really quickly. So a strain means usually going to be more chronic than a sprain. A sprain is usually more acute. It's happened right away. So one of the first things we want to look at is what points can we use to work on ourselves or to give an athlete or a client or somebody else. And one of the first points we work on is called Lojin, means neck pain relief. That's literally the meaning of the point. And that point is on your hand. If you find your hand, hopefully everybody has one. You go right in between the first finger and the middle finger. Right in the middle there is Lojin, the neck pain relief point. And you just push that one. While you're pushing the point, you turn your neck slowly from side to side. And the trick with this one is, if you have pain on your right side, you want to use the left hand. If you have pain on the left side, you want to use the right hand. So we're looking at Lojin as your first immediate point as soon as you get a sprain, as soon as you get a strain, as soon as you notice discomfort in your neck plexus area. And before we talk about the acupoints more, Michael talked a lot about the balance of the body, balance of the muscles, the balance of the structure, the posture, and he also talked about how people breathe up to the chest. So one of the places he showed us was the pectoral minors. And the pectoral minors are attached with your breathing. So if you're breathing shallowly and you're hunched over and you're, just in a lifestyle where you're not moving your body, then that's going to cause that neck pain. Basically, all these muscles that Mike talked about are connected with your breathing, especially your pectoral minors, your SCM, the sternocleidomastoid. Those are connected with your breathing. Those are considered the superficial breathing muscles. The scalenes is a superficial breathing muscle. And every time that you're breathing up in your chest, you're causing those muscles to contract and to work overtime. It's like everybody's been here in Alaska, and they do this work on the roads every summer, and they have these big tractors. So these big tractors are supposed to do that heavy lifting, that heavy work, and you don't really see the regular workers taking their pickaxes and shoveling up the road and going deep. They use the tractors. These tractors are meant to do that, and our deep abdominal muscles are the tractors. But we're using these little people, these little muscles, to do the heavy lifting, to do the heavy work. So as we're looking at just our lifestyle in general, a lot of people have chronic neck pain and even some slight acute neck pain due to the breathing, due to the way that they're expressing their muscles. So once you start putting your hand on your belly and breathe into your belly, not letting the chest move with your breath, letting the belly move, that starts to pull all these tight muscles down. The thing with your breath is it's not just moving one direction. It's moving to the sides, it's moving to the back. So your breath is supposed to help pull and relax all the superficial muscles. It's supposed to engage your deep muscles that are directly about your structure. The rhomboids is a deeper muscle and it affects your structure. The trapezius are more superficial muscles and they help with moving, but their main goal isn't to affect the structure like the rhomboids do. So when you breathe, first sensations you start to notice as you get into the deep breathing is you'll feel a lot of tension in the clavicle. You'll feel a lot of tension in the neck and in the shoulders. That means the muscles are starting to release, they're starting to balance out. As you breathe fully, your body's taking any imbalance. Let's say you breathe shallowly, and your stomach is tight, your shoulders are hunched forward, and your neck, you're letting your gaze. This looks like a terrible posture. So their breathing is really shallow because their body is closed up. As soon as you start focusing on breathing deeply, the body automatically has to open because you're creating space. And then you exhale. That's pumping the blood through the system. So now their scalenes, now their traps, now their rhomboids, now the pectorals are getting blood pumped through their body rhythmically. So before we start talking about the first aid, just looking at your breathing on a day-to-day basis, on a normal basis, is the first step to relieving almost all the pain in your body. Low back pain. People are breathing up in their stomach, up in their chest. Their stomachs are tight. They're holding in their stomach because they want a good figure. And that puts all that tension on the low back. Because the stomach is pulling in, and when the stomach pulls in, that pulls in the low back, and their breathing's up here, so everything's just tight. But as soon as you start breathing deep, you start to affect the back. And that starts to open up the joints, that starts to open up the erector spinae, it starts to open up your sacrum. And so when you're doing these occupoints on yourself or you're doing it on another person, you want to guide them to breathe deeply. Breathe deeply. The deeper you breathe, the more your muscles begin to open and reconfigure and balance themselves out. So your first point is the neck pain relief point. And this one's easy. You just push it and you move your neck side to side, you're rotating, and you breathe in deeply. So go ahead and find this point on your hand. And it's pretty easy. You just go from the knuckle and you fall right into it. So between your first finger and your middle finger, just fall right into the point. your muscles will automatically catch your finger. Okay, so find it on yourself, press it. If you feel a little bit of sensation, that means you're doing good. All right, so this is directly related to tension in the neck and shoulders. And then just keep moving your head side to side. Anytime you activate acupressure points, anytime you get your breathing involved, anytime you're moving your neck, you're getting your body to start sending blood to the area. And what's inside of blood? Plasma. Oxygen. Also inside of blood is your nutrients that it transports. Blood is a transportation center. So it's transporting the things that help your body start to heal. Right? It's saying, okay, proteins, come over here. We need to start repairing these muscles. We need to start repairing these tendons and these ligaments. It's saying white blood cells, we need to get rid of this inflammation, or we need to create some inflammation so that way there's space for us to start working. So every time you start to activate and move your body, it starts to put more and more blood to the affected area, in this case, the neck. When you use an acupressure point, those are kind of like creating gates in the body. You have a floodgate and or an aqueduct system, you open up some doors, the water's going to go one way, you close doors, the water's going to go another way. It's the same thing. So once you press that acupressure point, it's telling your body, okay, use these nerves, start sending blood over here, start getting these. So that's your first point. Second point is gallbladder 39. Gallbladder 39 is 4 fingers up from the angle. So find your angle, the outside of your leg, 4 fingers up. Boom, that's gallbladder 39. Gallbladder 39 is really good for relieving muscle spasming. So you've got your neck pain relief point on your hand. That starts to just immediately affect the neck itself. Gallbladder 39 on the leg starts to help with spasming. Where is it? Sorry. Gallbladder 39 is 4 fingers up from the ankle. So you find your outside ankle, 4 fingers up. And it's not on the bone, it's next to the bone. So you've got bone in the front, you've got muscles in the back, it's right in the middle. Boom. That's gallbladder 39. It helps with spasming. So if you've got an injury in your neck and your neck keeps twitching or you keep feeling twinges of pain, gallbladder 39 helps with the spasming. So you've got neck pain relief point. It's a very easy name. Neck pain relief point. Gallbladder 39. Now, the master point for any muscles, for relieving any muscular tension, is gallbladder 34. Gallbladder 34, the saying for it is drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. So if you just bend your knees, it's pretty much the first place on your knee that you put into. Boom. There's a slight depression in your leg. It's about 3 fingers down from the lateral, what's this called? I was thinking the knee. But it's 3 fingers down from the knee.
Okay, so here, but first I do it.
Yeah. Okay, and that point is used to relieve muscle pain, and muscle tension, and muscle inflammation everywhere in the body. It's a master control point. So remember, when you're working on yourself or when you're working on another person, make sure you have them breathe. If they don't breathe, then their whole body's constricted. They're not getting the effect of the point, and they're not going to heal. You need to breathe. Breathing deeply. Okay, so gallbladder 34, master control point for all the muscles and ligaments in the body. And last point we are going to discuss is triple burner 3. Triple burner 3 is on your hand, and it's right in between the ring finger and the pinky finger. Just follow it right down. This is triple burner 3. Triple burner 3 helps relieve the inflammation, helps relieve what we call in Oriental medicine wind. Yep. Okay, one more point. Super important point is liver 3. So liver 3 is control point for all the tendons in your body. And it's right between your big toe and your not so big toe. You follow it up 2 fingers from the joints, 2 fingers up, and that's going to be liver 3. Liver 3 helps with your liver, works directly with the blood, with moving and relaxing the liver, with moving and relaxing the tendons, the ligaments, and it helps create a fresh blood cycle in the body. So liver 3 is very strong for relieving pain and tension in the ligaments and in the tendons of the body. So if you've got a neck sprain, that's because something pulled your neck out of place very quickly, and then you went back to position. And that means all your muscles and your tendons, the vertebrae, everything is kind of inflamed right now. They went into overtime. They're like, oh no, it's an emergency. We just went someplace that really hurt us, and we need to fix this right now. And everybody's in chaos. They don't know what to do. Your body's creating some swelling, it's creating tension, it's contracting, it's expanding, there's heat, and whatever else is going on. So liver 3 helps bring order to the tendons and the muscles, tendons and ligaments. Helps bring order and helps get the blood start flowing in a calm manner. And it starts to say, okay, muscles, tendons, relax, blood flow, open things up, and don't get stress. It's also a great point for migraines and headaches, and that's not today. So today is pretty point heavy. We've got the neck pain relief point, which is right between your forefinger and your middle finger. You guys found that. The next point we used is gallbladder 39, 4 fingers up from your ankle. Boom, gallbladder 39. That one's great for removing spasms. You've got gallbladder 34, drop like it's hot. That one helps relax all the muscles in the body. You've got triple burner 3. Ooh, it's right in between the middle finger and the ring finger. Triple burner 3. That one helps with removing spasms, inflammation. And then you've got liver 3, which helps with relaxing all the tendons and ligaments in the body and creating the blood flow. So those are what we're working with. But the only point you need to really worry about is neck pain relief point for your first aid or your emergency. Like, I just got hurt, I don't know what to do. Take some deep breaths, move your neck, and activate the points. Remember, the point is you use the opposite hand for whatever side your pain is. So if your pain's on the right side, use your left hand. If your pain's on the left side, use your right hand.
So we're where?
We are on the neck pain relief point. This is an extra point, so it's not gallbladder, it's not any of those points. This is an extra point. Extra hand meridian 20. Has a weird long name. All right, so go ahead, find the point for yourself. Ooh. Feel it, move around for a minute, see its effects, work on your breathing. And then go ahead and find a partner. Somebody, anybody. And find the point on them. and then guide them to rotate their head right and left, and guide them in their breathing. Where do you feel tension? Right side, left side. Right side. Okay, then I'm gonna move to this. Okay, so you're like, my right side of the neck. Use this hand. And take a deep breath. Now while you're breathing deeply, rotate right and rotate left. Rotate right and rotate left. I'm just going to keep rubbing this point. Keep rotating, rotating, moving. As you move, pay attention to your client. Notice if they start to turn their head down, they start to tilt. You want their necks to stay straight up. Ooh. You want their head to be in the correct alignment. As soon as they start leaning and tilting, it's a muscular imbalance. You're trying to work through that because they strain or sprain their neck. You're working through that muscular imbalance while you're activating. Yeah, right there. That's right.
You can achieve your head.
Rotating right and left. Nice job. Pretty good.
So now you do this here in both hands.
You can if you're just doing general treatment. This is specifically like part of the first aid. So if somebody got hurt, yeah, so if somebody got hurt, if their neck got a sprain, they got whiplash, whatever went on, first thing you want them to do is just relax, just breathe for a second. You know, they're already in a panic, they're already tight, so have to breathe. And then they say cupping right along the upper trapezius, because that's going to help relax those muscles and get the blood start flowing into the area. Right, so that's why we call it. Wait, getting run over by a truck. It ain't good. Okay, so they also suggest taking trauma pills, which has a bunch of herbs inside that when you take it, helps your body have extra blood flow, extra nutrients to provide movement.
So we get, I mean, I presume we get confidence. We get many pills.
Usually. You right now the trauma pills are mostly in oriental medicine stores, or you can get them online, Amazon. So they suggest having trauma pills or resinol K in your toolbox as a therapist that you always carry with you. So like you have some things put in the back of your car, anything happens, you can take care of yourself. And the trauma pills are great for any kind of internal bleeding. Any kind of fractures, any kind of muscle sprains and strains, they help with your body healing. They help with.
So it would, if somebody said, oh, my arm hurts, then that would work. But it would also work if they had it cut.
If it got cut, then you don't want to take it internally. If it got cut, then with the resinol K, you put it on top. Or with the Yunan buyout. Yunan buyout is one of the top medicinals for any kind of bleeding. Lamar, the acupuncturist, likes to use it all the time. So
I'll
yeah,
ask her about it.
Yunan buyout for any kind of bleeding. It stops bleeding, it coagulates, it's great for that.
So what I should do to get it.
Okay, so some lifestyle things to pay attention to. The neck is very prone to wind invasions. So in Chinese medicine, the concept of wind is literally related to the wind. And when you have pain, when you have inflammation, when you have itching, when you have rashes, when you have something that comes and goes, like rheumatoid arthritis, the pain comes and goes, the inflammation comes and goes, maybe your pain migrates to another side. Those are all considered wind-related abnormalities. It's called a wind evil. And with wind, one of the main places it invades the body is through the neck, because we have almost all the meridians go through the neck. We have all these small muscles, we have arteries, we have the nerve plexuses, we have so much that goes on in the neck. And it's probably one of the most unprotected places in our body as well. I mean, we wear shirts, we wear pants, we have a head of hair, we have a pretty thick forehead, skull. So one of the most common places for the wind to enter the body, for viruses to enter the body, for diseases to enter the body is through the neck. And one of the things when you get a sprain is you want to keep the neck warm. When you get a strain, you want to keep the neck warm. That's going to help the blood circulate, it's going to help the muscles relax and not get bombarded by cold, not get bombarded by wind, which dries up the blood, which dries up the tendons and muscles, tightens things up. So making sure your neck stays covered. In China, even during the summer, you'll see a lot of people wearing scarves because that's how important it is. Even during the summer, and it's like 100 degrees outside, they're wearing low back warmers. They're wearing little knee warmers just to keep those main joints warm. Those are the main areas that cold gets into the body. When cold gets into the body, things tighten up, they stiffen, the blood coagulates, the nerves get tight, and they have trouble flowing. And one of the best things for that is warmth, is heat. So drinking hot water, putting a hot compress on your neck, breathing deeply. Those are all things that help the blood flow. Those are all things that help get the neck to move and get the blood to flow and the muscles to relax. Okay, now you guys got to play with the main acupoint. We're going to go through a couple of exercises that we use in our Qigongs to help with the neck. This is both preventative, maintenance, and you can use it when it's acute. You can get your exercises. All right, go ahead and stand up. Give yourself some space, come out. We have a huge floor. All right. There we go. All right, one of the first exercises you have in Bhagwan Jin, which is primarily for the neck and for the shoulders. So remember our anatomy that we just went over. You've got the pectoral minors, you've got the SCM, you've got the trapezius muscles, all sorts of other things. Those are all going to be involved in this first move. It's called drawing the bow. So go into a wide stance, pull in your knees, tuck your tailbone, take a deep breath, and draw the bow. Ooh, you're opening your pectorals, you're looking as far as you can. You're exhaling, so you're relaxing the muscles, relaxing the tendons. Deep inhale, you're rounding that spine, you're rounding that chest. Ooh. And then exhale, looking as far as you can over your shoulder. Keep your neck straight. Ooh. Do two more. Inhale. Exhale. Open your pectorals, squeeze your scapula together, look over your shoulder. One more. Inhale. Exhale. All right, and back to center. So this is something that you're going to use during the recovery phase. If it's acute, not necessarily do this movement, but it helps once their sensations have died down. So if they're in an acute phase, they just got whiplash, they just came in from that car, it's been like 3 days, then this movement itself, you don't want to use right away. But let's say after you've worked on them, after their nerves and muscles have calmed down, this is a great move because it gets the pectorals to open, it gets the shoulders to open, it gets the traps and the SCM to open and move. And when you exhale, it relaxes.
Also, like chronic pain.
Chronic pain, absolutely. That's one of the most commonly prescribed Qigong movements that we use is drawing bow. Okay, the other one from the bottom of Jin, 8 heavenly brocades, is gaze of the tiger. So inhale up, exhale down. Now you're going to scoop. You're twisting those rhomboids open, you're twisting the traps, you're getting your pectorals open. Inhale, scooping up. And now you're pushing back. Ooh, and looking as far as you can. You're using your eyes, looking as far as you can. Your head looking as far as you can. Your shoulders are back. Ooh. And then inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale, scoop. Exhale down. Looking over the other shoulder. Your shoulders are back, pectorals are open. And if you're working with a client, you want to make sure they're not leaning their head in any weird directions. You want to keep their head straight. And inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale, scoop, big scoop. Exhale down. Shoulders are set, body set. Look. Remember, you're using your eyes to look. You're using your chin to look. You're looking as far as you can. Try to see your opposite heel. And inhale up. Exhale down. In ancient China, they prescribed this specific Qigong movement for most neck diseases, most neck pains, strains, because it starts to wring out all the muscles. It starts to open the meridians, starts to get the tendons to flow, starts to balance out any kind of imbalance in your upper neck, body, pectorals, shoulders. Inhale. The neck is related to the wood element in Chinese medicine, 5 elements. Exhaling. So the wood element connects with your eyes, your tendons, your ligaments, your blood. Inhale. Exhale. Big scoop. Inhale. Exhale. This is great for migraines. Any kind of muscle tension where you've got pain in your eyes, your head, your shoulders, your pectorals, even the frozen shoulder. This is perfect. And last one. Inhale. Exhale. Scoop. And down. One of my clients like to call this the puppy paws move. And inhale. Exhale. Relax. So if you're feeling it, you're paying attention to this movement, you're getting your shoulders to rotate open. You're rotating the shoulders with this movement. You're bringing that rotation up, so now your shoulders, your pectorals are open. Ooh, pectorals are open. Your rhomboid, or your scapula are open. When you bring your wrist back, you bring your hands over, that relaxes the shoulder joint. So now in this position, you've got your shoulders back. You've got your tailbone tucked. That'd be ideal. You're looking as far as you can down with your shoulders. Smooth your shoulders. That means that we're doing. You're looking, and now you can feel the tendons in that. You can feel the attachments in your shoulder. You can feel even in your rib cage the effects that this movement is having. Once you have your eyes are attached to so many muscles inside your neck, attached to so many muscles inside your head, inside your face. That once you move your eyes, boom, it's stretching all those attachments to the ligaments, opening things up. And then when you come back, you're relaxed. You're getting your whole body to move that arm together so it doesn't stay stuck. Okay, one last exercise I'm going to do is, I forgot this one, but harmonizing head and earth, where you're opening your shoulders up, other hand is pushing down, and you're looking at your hand. Arms straight, right above your bicep, looking at your hand. Inhale, exhale, stretching up, looking at your hand. And then inhale, exhale, stretching up, looking at your hand. One more time, inhale, exhale, stretching up, looking at your hand. Inhale, relax. So all these are what are commonly prescribed for your clients when you're working with them for neck pain. Whether they're athletes or they are just having neck problems, it's important to prescribe movement to your clients. If you don't give them homework, their patterns are not going to change. At least you gave them homework, now they're going to think about it. They're going to feel, oh man, I didn't do my homework today, but they thought about it. That means they're actively thinking about changing their behavioral patterns. But if you don't give them homework, you just work on their points and say, okay, you can go home, they're going to forget about it. Nothing in their life is going to change. And even though this is an acute thing, a sprain or a strain from your postural imbalances, your sleeping weird, your looking at your cell phone all the time, even if it's something acute, you still want them to change their behavioral pattern. They are in an acute phase, their shoulders are going to be imbalanced, the neck's going to be imbalanced, the chest is going to be imbalanced, their breathing's going to be imbalanced, their back's going to be imbalanced, everything's connected. So if you just work on them and don't give them anything to do, they're going to naturally go back to those areas of imbalance. While they sleep, while they drive, while they work, while they talk, while they play. Say, okay, make sure you do gaze of the tiger. Then at least they're going to remember, oh yeah, I need to open my neck, I need to stretch, I need to change this attachment of behavior. I need to change this postural.
I really thought that my clients appreciated having something to do. You know, when I always gave people something to do. And they were like, oh yeah, okay. And then if you're with them all the time, when they come back, if they haven't been doing that, they're like, oh yeah, well, okay, that's fine. I'll be happy to do that. You know, and sooner or later, they might do it.
They might do it. But that's also what gives you, as a therapist, since we're all therapists here, that's what gives you as a therapist, that's like your magic spell from the client. You're like, oh, this is special just for me. You say, yeah, I've got a perfect exercise for you. It's great for your shoulder. It's great for your neck. It's really going to help with your strain. That creates a rapport between you and your client that says, okay, now we've got a special connection. I'm going to give you a homework for you to do. If you can do it,
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and then when they come back and say, how did that go? You didn't say, did you do it? Or did, you know, you just say, so how did that go for you? And if they can lie if they want to that way, you know, they're not stuck with saying, something, they can just say, oh, yeah, that's a really good idea.
Right.
I think we should, I'd like to, but that's another question.
And most of the clients, as soon as they come in, they'll be like, I didn't do my homework. I know you're gonna ask about it. I didn't do it. Or they'll be like, I did my homework every day and I'm doing great. But your clients are gonna remember it. I'm not gonna tell our secret. Sometimes we give clients or students or people homework, we forget about it. So we forget what we gave them. We said, we might say, okay, do drawing the bow 10 times every day. Ooh. And then we're off doing our stuff, working with other clients, and then all we have to say is, did you do your homework? No, I didn't. It's like, okay, what are you having trouble with? And as you do your moves, it's like, oh, okay, that's what I gave them. But that's the thing with this trade secret. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're each going to partner up with somebody, take them through the points for neck pain, for the gallbladder 39, gallbladder 34, liver 3, and triple burner 3. Guide them through the exercises and give them right now. Yeah. I was like, oh, yeah. Make sure you keep guiding your client to breathe deeply. So, gallbladder 34 is about making this or just following
But I was in this meeting on that one, not the screens. So are you doing this always standing up?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
It might feel differently when you are laying down. Because when you stand, yeah. What about that?
The nice thing with acupressure is that this much space to be temperate. And you're going to still Stare at Bob. We did start feeding, so we'll still stop at 3. 10 minutes, 12 minutes. And we got one Mudra as well. Notice my fingers are tight. Yeah.
Whoa.
Make sure you trade it out on each other. He does. Yes. Motion.
Yeah.
I know, right? There's some foods to go to Sotai, and they have canceled the order because they couldn't find Sotai. Yeah.
Hey man, what's the right around the corner? I told him I see it right next to the store. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, she's right back.
Yeah. Can go right next to the light. Then you say it like, oh, I will be.
Totally, it's really good.
Stir fried vegetables with roast chicken that you gotta remove. And then the white rice.
It's one for the workshop. See it there. I'll give it next. All right. Let us return back. Okay, did everybody find the points on each other? Okay. Did you notice any difference in how your neck and shoulders feel? Okay, go ahead and feel it around. See how it's feeling now. They're like, Ooh, there's a little bit of relaxation. Okay, did you guide each other through the different qigong's? Slackers. All right, so we're gonna give you a special mudra. Mudras are part of the Ayurvedic, part of the Indian medicine. And they connect with the different nadis, the different kinds of energetic systems. And this specific mudra is for what we consider wind. And it helps remove that pain and tension in the neck, in the shoulders, helps with any spasming, helps with pretty much any kind of wind disharmonies that we talked about earlier. So pain that comes and goes, pain that moves from side to side, rashes, or just cold in your body, especially your neck and your shoulders and your occipitals. So this mudra, you put your 3 fingers together, bring your 4 fingers straight down, and your thumb on top. Ooh, this is the wind mudra. So if you hold the mudra, it can be as little as like 10 seconds. Just do it many times, or up to 10 minutes. And it's going to have a very profound effect on the body. The more you do a mudra, the more it's going to work in your body. But as long as you're doing it, it's going to create a stronger and stronger and stronger effect. And this is kind of like a homework project, something you can take home and do anytime you're watching TV, you're waiting at a stoplight, you're in the line at cars. You can just stand here like this. You do meditation. This helps with releasing the neck and shoulders and tendons. This helps with moving that wind out of the body and letting your body warm up with good blood flow. And if you notice, there might be some tension between your knuckles. I'll show you where it's tight. So as you do mudras, the more you do them, the more your hands start to release, the more your body starts to release too. Just like they have the acupressure, just like they have the reflexology, if you just work the hand, if you work the areas that are tight in the hand, it's going to work the areas that are tight in the body because of how it's connected. The nerves, the muscles, the fascia, the pressurization of your body by working the hands to change the pressure in your entire body very subtly, very minutely. So as you're working these mudras, as you work on your flexibility, that's going to open up your body a lot. So no matter what mudra, no matter what you're doing, notice, my hands are tight. It's going to show you got tension in the neck and shoulders. You got tension in your organs, your hips, your knees, your ankles. So just by working on your hands, in general, that's going to help your body greatly. So Michael has a few more exercises for us that work directly with the muscles he's going to talk about. That's very cool.
All right, back again. So, as you guys can see, well, first of all, let me rewind. I don't collaborate with a lot of people. I have a lot of respect for Seraphin. That's the only reason I agreed to do this workshop with him. He takes his work very seriously. And that little conversation he was talking about, yeah, that's me and him. Talking about homework we give our clients to forget losing. But if you notice, we covered Western and Eastern, but the two things we had in common is we talked about lifestyle. So it's kind of like a diet. Well, I'll lose this 20 pounds to fit the dress. As soon as you fit the dress, and then it's over, you go back to the same lifestyle. So it's the same with body work. It's a lifestyle change. Okay. So we give homework. Some clients are going to do it. Some aren't. They usually they're pretty upfront and honest about it. They'll tell you right away because they feel guilty when they see you. Their conscience gets the best of them. It's like, oh man, I didn't have time. And my first response always to them is, so you didn't have time. How much time do you spend on the toilet a day? Think about it, quite a bit. How much time did you spend scrolling your phone? We always have time. So just put it into your routine as you go to bed. Get out of the shower, do the prescribed exercise, stretch, or what have you, 5 to 10 minutes a day. It may not seem like much, but what it's doing is creating a habit. And once you have a habit established, you can extend that period of time that you're addressing now, but you're doing the therapy, exercise, or whatever we give our clients. With that being said, I don't give a lot. But if we do, there's time. And gets it right. Some big one.
No, I always gave clients something to do,
Mhm.
and it was always short and sweet.
Yep, short, sweet, to the point. One, maybe two. It depends on what I feel from the client, how connected I am, how serious they seem about their health, improving and getting better. That helps me dictate how much I get. Usually 1 to 2 max.
But the other thing I did was I tried not to make it like it was like a big deal, a big work thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was like, this is gonna be really helpful, and if you wanna try it, let's see how it works. See how you do it now, and then see how it works for you as we go forward.
Yep, absolutely.
And then they'll like.
And sometimes there's a compromise. And us as therapists, we understand that. I work with people of all walks of life. If they're upfront and they're telling you, okay, I'm not gonna do this. Okay, connect with them a little bit. Like do a yogi, like yoga. Okay, pick a position that will open the shoulders, stretch the neck, or whatever, because that's what speaks to them. They'll do it. Don't force anything on them. I just make recommendations. Some clients straight up tell me I'm not doing it, and some will do it and come back and say, "Oh man, I should have done this a long time ago." Yeah, client to client, it's always going to change. Anyway, so the first one, when I talked earlier, I talked about the neck does rotation, right? Flexion, extension, lateral flexion. So I tried to pick one that is like a catch-all. I think I'm a comedian, so I'll give it a stupid name, like armpit sniffer. So if you think about sniffing, it's like, what? Sniff your armpit. So what I tell them to do is just turn your head as far as you can to either the left or the right side, and then you look down while keeping it turned. Reach up with that same side arm, grasp the top of your head, pull it down, and sniff your armpit. You can feel that stretch. And hold that 30 to 60 seconds, and same thing on the other side. Do a couple repetitions of that before you go to bed at night. What I like to tell my clients is get in a hot bath or a hot shower to help warm and relax those muscles prior to doing your stretch, and you'll get more bang for your buck. You get more out of the stretch. Yeah, so that's one. That's the armpit sniffer. And the other one, can't think of a funny name for that one, but is neck retraction. If you feel silly, you're probably doing it correctly. All right, so you sit up straight. I'll turn this way so you guys can see. Sit up straight, and what I want you to do is just take your chin and kind of tuck it in. If you want to make that a little harder, take a C grip, place that on your chin. And as you're retracting, don't push it back. You can even add a little downward pressure to it as well. That's it. 2 stretches. No excuse not to do them. 5 minutes a day. And I've said it, I don't know how many times, Sarah said it, because it's the lifestyle we live. It's the lifestyle we live. It's probably not going to change. So do things to help alleviate that. And that homework that we give as therapists is maintenance. So versus taking 2 steps forward and then they're back to square one when they come back and see you. 2 steps forward, maybe a step back, but you're making progress as time goes on. So very important that you do your plan. Should be part of yourself. The plan part, right? patient education, take-home therapy, stretches, so on and so forth. Not return as needed. That's not a plan. That's all I got. So,
All right. Okay, do we have any questions, any comments, any thoughts? All right.
I do. I think one of the biggest things as therapist I find is that I don't stretch, or even as a person, once I started. If I don't stretch, I start to realize that I'm tightening up. So it has to be a consistent, if you're gonna stretch, it has to be consistent, or it's, in the end, it's just kind of a waste of time to do it periodically or, once a week.
and that's what I try to tell them, add it into their lifestyle.
Yeah.
Make it part of your routine. I mean,
Yeah.
you say you're busy, well, you brew a pot of coffee before you go to work. While that coffee's brewing, do your stretches, do your exercise. Doesn't have to be 30 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes makes a difference.
And that's the main thing too. The reason they got injured in the first place, whether it was sudden, like a car impact, or playing spilled, or just working, is their body was not flexible enough. Their body was not open enough. Muscles got tight, right? There was an impact. The muscles contracted suddenly. That's where the pain came from. That's where the injuries came from. They're pretty much okay. Now they're just tight. Now they can't move because things contracted so much and their body's in a state of agitation. They're in a state, basically a state of fear. So with these exercises, you're telling them it's okay to open up. It's okay to move. You're going to be strong. You're going to be fine. There may be things such as subluxations and the cervical spine, what do they call it? Cervical spondylosis. There could be slight tearing, things like that can happen. But the main thing is the muscles became tight and contracted. So all that you're doing is teaching them to breathe and relax. Giving them exercises to relax, and you're using acupoints and working on muscles to get the muscles to relax, get the body to open up. All right, Rosie.
I noticed that a lot of people are having neck problems now, and I've heard of rivers and strain, season of neck pain, and something like that. One, like a little bit more elaboration on that also. So if there is a season, when is it? From when until when?
So, one of the things that we look at in Oriental medicine is how the body is related to nature. Your question is, I've heard and I've noticed that springtime is kind of the time for neck insurance. So what are the seasons roughly, right? In springtime, okay, we go into the 5 elements. Pretend I've got a board here. Use your imagination. You've got fire on the top. You've got earth on the side. You've got metal on the bottom. What is that? Left, bottom right, whatever direction you're looking at. That one over there. You've got water over here, and you've got wood over here. Okay. So, what does springtime do? What happens during springtime? What is going on? Growth, renewal. In Alaska, we call it breakup season, right? The ice is thawing, things are melting, things are moving. So the neck is, in Oriental medicine, a lot of the wood elements. The wood meridians go pass by the neck, pass by the brachial plexus, pass by all of these areas. One of the emotions for the neck, one of the emotions for wood is stress, is anger. Anger makes things move and expand. So anger is an expansion of energy. Neck problems is one due to climate itself. You've got more wind, things are a lot more wet, things are changing. And as the blood moves to the body, as the chi moves to the body, it resonates with what your external environment is. That's why in China, they keep their neck wrapped, especially during season changes. And a lot of the season changes are during the equinox period, during the solstice period. And so it's going to last until it stops. And then the next one's going to be fire element. We've got summer coming up. So people are gonna have a lot more, still a lot of upper body stuff going on because it rises to the head. You're gonna see people active all the time. You're gonna see migraines, you're gonna see headaches, you're gonna see people who are just overcharged, over-energized. You're gonna have a lot of stuff going on in their heart center, a lot of problems with sleeping, a lot of chest pain because it's summer. It's active, it's expansive, it's fire element. You get into the mid to late summer, that's earth. So you're gonna see a lot more tension in the rib cage. You're gonna see stuff happening in the stomach area, the liver area. You're gonna see leg tension, leg pain, knee pain happening. Knee pain, especially during the winter. Fall time, as the energy is descending, as things get colder, as things get more stark, it's gonna affect the lungs greatly, lungs and shoulders. Lungs and shoulders are related to the mental element. Metal is about letting go. That's why a lot of people have shoulder pain and neck pain because now it's breakup season. They've got to let go of all of their old stuff. They've got to let go of their old conditioning. Things are getting warmer, so it's like it's thawing out the ice. It's allowing the neck to start breathing. It's allowing the energy to start moving, and they have to let go of what they're holding on to during the winter. I mean, during winter, especially here, pretty stagnant unless you're out every day, playing, snowboarding, skiing. They're pretty stagnant. And winter time is water element. You're going to see that low back and knees especially, because those are related to the kidneys. Those are related to your reserves of energy. And so they're like, hey, we need a break. We need to take care of ourselves. So those are some of the things you're going to notice during apple seasons. Keto. Questions, comments? How do you feel? What's your takeaway?
So as a client, I feel like the homework is always empowering, so that I know that, we go to therapists to ask for help, but also you want something that you can do, so that you are not helpless. But I feel really that way. I like that when I go to see somebody and somebody gives me something that I can do at home, I try my best to do that. So I appreciate the homework.
Awesome. So you feel empowered with the homework that you receive as a client. Great.
Well, I'm sorry I was late. I always look for new Qigong moves, and because that's something I incorporate in my daily routine anyway. But anything that I get, I agree with Kilo too, but it's like anytime you get a new tool in your tool belt to sort of help you improve your, whether it's your, your physical functioning or your emotional stability or your energy, it's all about learning and bettering yourself. So.
Excellent. All right, keep your application. All right, guys. Give Michael a round of applause. Thank you so much. And next month, Michael is teaching a workshop.
It's going to be low back.
Next month, Michael's teaching a workshop on low back. So be sure to join him for a lot of really awesome and in-depth understanding and explanation of the muscles involved, of exercises that you can do to help relieve that pain, and how to further enhance yourself.
Healthy lifestyle, optimal performance. I want to still be moving around like this when I'm 67 years old.
At least 117.
I was going to
67.
say, 95.
All right, excellent. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Hey, we made it 2 hours and 5 seconds.
Boom, right on the money.